All right, Mets fans. So Thursday night's game already started. Trying to avoid it now so I can get this recap in. I'm fired up to document this 2026 season through all the ups and downs. There's going to be a lot of each. So next, we'll take a trip downhill and look back at the series between the Mets and the Cardinals in St. Louis. Of course, Mets lost 2 of 3 to drop the series after winning Game 1. I wanted to do the recap right after the game, but I wanted to put some emotion out of it, be a little more objective. It's a long season, long way to go. Yeah, that was not a fun series to watch, but hopefully better times to come. So start at game 1. Consider that a standard win, 4-2 victory. No real drama to speak of, so that's why I call it standard. Just your, basic win. Mets had 10 hits, 2 each by Benj and Polanco. Lindor led off the game with a triple. First inning, obviously. Then he was brought in by Bichette with the RBI ground out. In the 5th inning, Benj had a leadoff single. Bichette brought him in also with an RBI single where he twisted himself into a knot and corkscrewed him into the ground. Still got the job done, but it was kind of funny to watch. 6th inning, Beatty leadoff single. Jared Young with the RBI double. And then they scored again when Soto walked with the bases loaded. After that, they had a great chance to break the game wide open. Bichette hit a line drive to right field. got out of that inning. On the pitching side, Clay Holmes went 5 2/3, gave up 2 runs, 4 hits, 3 walks with 5 strikeouts. He gave up an RBI single in the first to tie the game after he balked on a pickoff attempt. Guy broke early to go to third, and kind of seemed like he got a little bit flustered, didn't step off completely, is what I believe happened. They had him dead at third, but they called a balk on the play. So, then the guy scored on the single. And then solo home run to Nolan Gorman with 2 outs in the 6th. That was his last batter. They brought in Myers, got out of the inning on 1 pitch, and then he pitched the following inning. I have a slight issue with this move. Not a big deal. I'll touch back on that. So, Mets won 4-2, like I said, in the first game. It was a good win after dropping the game on Sunday to the Pirates. A way to fight back. The issue that I have with removing Holmes, he just gave up the home run, so you don't want the game to get too close there. It was to the lefty batter, and the next batter was a right-handed batter. If you're going to bring in Myers anyway, I don't know. I would have liked to see them stick with Holmes, try to get out of the inning. It was no one on base. He was up to 90 pitches, so I guess that's like their artificial limit. I would have preferred to see him finish the inning, let Myers start off with a fresh slate. In the 7th, it would have been, but I don't want to nitpick too much. But as I mentioned, as I mentioned in a follow-up video I did, seemed to be a lot of that, just pulling the guys maybe a little bit earlier than should have, and over the course of the season, that really weighs on the bullpen as we witnessed last season. The whole pitching staff fell apart, but I think a lot of it just has to do with setting up that mentality to get through six, as minimal as that sounds, it goes a long way throughout the season. All right. So we got the win in the first game. Game two, Mets lost 3-0. Really no offense to speak of. Had 4 walks and 3 hits. Soto with 2 of the hits. He had a single and a double. So he's keeping the team going. I mean, they're not scoring runs off what he's doing, but he's certainly getting the hits. Senga, man, I was really excited to see what he was going to come with. He gave us exactly what we needed there for the team and for himself. He went 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, gave up 2 runs on 4 hits and 3 walks. Even the 2 runs he gave up weren't really his fault. In the 3rd inning, Robert misplayed a fly ball to center, allowing a leadoff double to Victor Scott. It looked like he either froze or took a couple steps in, and it was one of those line drives hit right at him. I hear that's the hardest ball to judge in center field, one right at you and on the line. Next batter singled, hit it also to Robert. He, I think, was trying to make up for that play, so he threw it all the way home. It was an excellent throw. Definitely had some oomph behind it. Runner held at third, but the throw going home allowed the batter to reach second base. So he had second and third there, and then the next batter hit a double, Herrera, that knocked both runners in. So that was the 2 runs. Our offense didn't do anything, so we can't really get mad for Senga giving up the 2 runs or for Robert too much, misplaying the one and then trying to make up for it. Not the smartest baseball play, but he tried to make up for it. I'll give him some credit there, but it's just not a good baseball play. This game should have never happened. Really, not much to talk about. Mets couldn't figure out Palante through 5 innings, and then they got shut down by their bullpen, has really nobody. They have Stanek, who we're familiar with. He had some, bright moments, some bad moments, especially last year, but, I mean, there's no reason we shouldn't be hitting these guys. Jared Young, I get it. He's on the team. We should get him playing time. He's done fairly well. I don't think he should be batting 5th in the order. Like I said, he's held his ground a bit. Deserves some playing time, but I don't think he should be batting 5th in this order. Not that was the only problem, but just one critique. As far as Senga, the guy was hitting 99 on the gun, so that's kind of scary, but it's also good to see. I think it shows that he's healthy. At least maybe dial it back a notch. I'm not entirely sure, but if he's throwing a 99-mile-per-hour fastball and mixing with that goes for, that got to be a nightmare to face. All right, so lost that second game. That tied up the series. Going on to game 3. This one hurt. I was able to watch most of this game. Day games, so I always love day games. It just has like a different vibe to it. Mets lost in 11 innings, 2-1. Only offense we could muster was a Soto solo home run. Unfortunately, right before he hit the home run, which was a nice shot, barely stayed fair. I think it hit the foul pole, but it tucked right in the corner. Um, like I said, unfortunately, though, Lindor was on first and he got picked off. I don't know what he was doing, adjusting his gloves while taking a lead at the same time. And I, I don't know. Like I heard some, a lot of criticism about him. He also had a mental gaff in the field where he could have turned a double play, but kind of thought it was out of the inning. On a grounder hit right up the middle, he fielded right behind second and just kind of stepped on the bag. Uh, yeah, I mean nothing came of it, but yeah, I don't know. I heard a lot of talk about. I know there was a rain delay to start the game, and it was maybe thought to have been expected to start later, and then they only ended up delaying for an hour, so may have thrown a guy's rhythm off, the whole team's rhythm off. I don't know. Not an excuse. You guys are professionals. You got tons of people trying to watch your game, so you should be ready to play. Vientos started at first base. You got the team's first hit, finally their first hit in the fifth inning. He hit a double right down the line. It was nice, like 24 Ventos type contact. It was a nice shot down the line. I was hoping it would give him a little bit of a spark, but there's already 2 outs in the inning. But it was still good to see him. Any hits he gets at this point is good for his confidence, or good for him keeping his spot, or even showing he still has some value if they're going to go that route. Either way, we need him to hit. If he's going to stay on a team, we need him to find whatever magic he had in 24 and a couple times last year, but never really matched the 24 season. So good for Vientos. And Cardinals tied it up. It was 1-1 forever, and then finally went to ninth inning, extra innings. We had a runner on second in the ninth after a leadoff double. Then obviously in the 10th and 11th with the ghost runner. So 3 innings in a row with the guy at second and no outs, and could not score a run. And then in the 11th, even, we had the bases loaded with 1 out. Beatty grounded in a force play at home, and then Semien popped out. That was it. You have to score at least 1 run in those extra innings. I mentioned it when talking about the extra inning games we played against the Pirates. You're almost expected to score that run, and getting an extra run puts more pressure on the team in the bottom of the inning. When you don't score at all, it's like, I don't know how, you're going to lose that game. On the pitching side, Freddie Peralta, he went 5 1/3 with 7 Ks. First, I don't know, maybe he lost a little bit of his command after a while. The first 2 batters reached in both the 5th and the 6th innings. He was able to strand the runners in the 5th, and then he was removed with 1 out in the 6th after he struck out Burleson. Brazoban came in, got a pop out from Wynn, I believe, was batter. And then after that, with the 2 outs, he gave up a single to Gorman that tied the game. So that's where it was 1-1 until 5 more innings. Rayleigh, Weaver, and Williams pitched the next 3 innings. No runs given up. Myers pitched to extras. Unfortunately, getting a loss, but I mean, you got to score in the top there. So, I mean, yeah, this game was tough. It was just so many opportunities. We could have, all we had to do was knock one of them guys in and win the season, win the series. That's why they call it the rubber game. Bounce the other way. Cardinals took the series. Um, some thoughts on this game, similar to with Holmes. They pulled Peralta after, in the middle of the inning. He had 92 pitches. He was looking a little bit tired, but you could tell he definitely wanted to stay in there and try to get out of that mess. And eventually they scored. Who knows how it would have went either way. Hard to say, really. I mean, I could understand it from both sides. I think if they're touting him as a number one guy, I kind of would let him finish. But you know, long season. I hate to keep saying that, but yeah, I don't know. I just hope this isn't a thing that they're reverting to that we saw last year, where I mean, although some of the times the guys weren't their sharpest, it seemed they were getting taken out in the fifth, even before the fifth sometimes. And it's like sometimes you just gotta try to get length, even if you give up another run. Uh, just over the course of the season, I think those things add up, and it's about establishing a mentality as well. Just in my opinion, I can't simply take a guy out because he lost a beat. These guys are starting pitchers and should be conditioned to throw 100 pitches at least. I mean, you know, I just hope they, something that they're paying attention to and trying to get their starters to go deeper. I'm not expecting 7 even, but 6 is a good start. If a guy's on top of his game, then ride him out. But um, and I know it's a second time around in rotation, but I'll be watching that. And I'm watching you, Mendoza. Also in the game, Vientos, who I mentioned, had the hit. It was the first hit of the game. So he played first. He was playing at first. He made at least one decent play that I saw in a crucial situation in the mid game. But then they replaced him with Beatty as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning after Robert got on with a single. I mean, I'm more of a Beatty fan than Vientos as far as what I think they can mean to the team. But I mean, Vientos struggled in spring training, struggled in the World Baseball Classic, and hasn't really had many at bats. But it was the second game in a row where he had 2 at bats. I feel, I mean, if you're going to use these guys and you want to, kind of like balance getting guys playing time with also getting guys rest. If you start the guy at first, um, he looked decent. I wasn't sure how he'd do at first. I mean, he wasn't a good fielder at third, but it's totally different position. I think just to provide him with value for the team, if he can establish him a little bit at first, it definitely helps with the flexibility. And then just to get him more at bats. I mean, Beatty's looked pretty good, but I don't know what kind of message it sends to everyone. Just not letting Vientos try to get going and see if he can maybe stack a couple hits there. Not the biggest deal. And like I said, I realize that Beatty currently has more value to the team with the positional flexibility. and just seeing how he kind of emerged last year, and they're hoping he could build on that at the same time playing all these positions. That is very valuable. But I mean, Vientos just had a hit. I don't know. Sometimes you gotta just let a guy try to fight out of it. Not a huge deal, but I didn't really like that. Just thoughts on the series as a whole. The pitching was excellent. It was definitely what we needed, especially with scoring so few runs that we still even had a chance in either of those games. Was due to the pitching. Um, Final 23 innings of the series, we scored one run. That was that Soto solo home run. Man, that was. I was, had high hopes for 2 out of 3, and to not have it go that way is bad, but the way it happened is painful. In addition to it, yeah, that hopefully we can pick it up now. Go to San Fran for a 4-game series. Got Peterson on the mound. Hopefully we found the bats or brought them with. Take a look at the schedule for I was looking at this earlier. It's kind of interesting. We go from after San Francisco, we go back home, 6-game homestand against Diamondbacks and Athletics. So this little West Coast, Midwest to West Coast, back home for 6, back out to LA for 3 to play the Dodgers out there, and then the day off and come back east to Chicago for a 3-game series over the weekend. Then we come back home. Got a 9, at least 9. I don't know if we only have April up. 9-game homestand. Play the Twins, Rockies, and Nationals. So, the two West Coast trips kind of separated from each other. That's a little strange. Man, we really gotta at least split this Giants series, come back home, try to regroup against Diamondbacks. They're okay. A's are, who knows what to expect. They got some good young players, but us at home, we should be able to take them. They don't have pitching. And then that just leads to the series going out to LA to play the Dodgers. That would be a early season test. We'll see how we play until then, but that's gonna that could be a big series just in the grand scheme of things. And then the Cubs. I love the games at Wrigley. Looks like we got 3 day games, so that's pretty cool. A Friday, Saturday, and Sunday day games. So looking forward to that. All right. We can also take a look at the standings real quick after just a couple games. Right now, Marlins are 5-1 in first place. Braves 4-2, and then Phillies, Nationals, and Mets are all 3-3. So still early, too early to be scoreboard watching really, but it's kind of also part of being a fan. But it's too you can't put too much weight on that. Just had a tough series. Got to get the ball rolling in the right direction, and hopefully we can get hot or something. Anyway, I'm gonna do these series recaps. It's something I like doing. I'm just trying to put a documentary together for the whole season, even if it's just for me. I don't really care too much. I'm gonna try to get work on the graphics a little bit. I got something in store. But mostly what I'm concerned with and putting the most effort into is just coming up with some good content, giving valid, thought out opinions on the team. I got a couple other topical things I'm jotting down here as they come up. I'm going to continue with my series of, telling about my life as a Mets fan. Uh, Probably make that like 4 or 5 chapters to add to the one I have out already. If anyone's interested in that, you know, throw some comments down. Tell your own story. Very interested to hear that. What anyone got to say. Anyone has anything to say about what I put down, please let me know. One of the things I am going to feature is a look at some maybe not the most popular Mets players, but some, and not the quad A type players either, but just guys that have made an impact on the team that maybe some of the younger fans don't know so much about, um, or just don't really get the attention that they deserved at the time. I'm not talking about superstar players. Like for one of the guys I'm thinking of is an example is Todd Hundley. Uh, had the Mets team home run record at one point as a catcher. I think that's a guy that Mets fans should know about what he did, and um, just kind of those stories that interest me that it would seems like it would be fun to tell. So, all right, well, I'm gonna